New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. And hello again, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you over here.
And I'm Rev Lezli Goodwin. Glad to be here.
Thank you. And this is New Thought Today for February 3rd, 2026. Rev Z is off into the world doing the good work that he does in the corporate world. So I'm flying solo with a dear friend and someone we've been wanting to get on this program for a while, Reverend Lezli Goodwin. Welcome aboard, dear one. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Sorry I'm so difficult to schedule in.
I'm not putting that on you. I think that's more on our side than anything. So I'm really glad that you're here today and really looking forward to this conversation. So, folks, I'll tell you something. The pregame show, the behind the scenes beforehand was already a great conversation. So I think you're going to love it. Grab a beverage, hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Let your friends and family know what we're doing here as we start to settle in for New Thought today. And Reverend Lezli, as we like to do here, we kind of kick it to you to let you introduce yourself and tell the folks at home what they need to know about you and your ministry to get this conversation started.
Absolutely. So I am Reverend Lezli Goodwin, and I am the Associate Minister at New Vision Center for Spiritual Living in Phoenix, Arizona, where I have the great joy of being in charge of adult education, small group ministries, and running our practitioner program all the way from training through supporting them in their practitioner work. And it is delightful. It puts me in front of and with dozens to hundreds of brilliant, growing spiritual leaders every year. It's so exciting to get to be with people who take living in the world in alignment with our principles as seriously and as passionately as I do.
Beautiful. Yeah, I find that very, 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 very fitting because one of the things I know is you've been with New Vision for quite a long time. As I remember it, you did your practitioner training there at New Vision and your ministerial training. And so you've gotten to see a couple of different senior ministers and different people come and go through but it sounds like that is a through line, if you will, something that's really been there all along is that practitioner piece. And sometimes that's something that people overlook is the power of a strong group of practitioners in a community.
I don't think it could be. There's nothing that's as important to me as a strong group of practitioners. I've been at New Vision Center for 18 years now. And interestingly, Reverend Karen Einhaus, who is our senior minister, and Reverend Jeff Hargis, who is also here at New Vision with us, we all showed up somewhere between 2007, 2008, completely new to New Thought, did not know each other, settled in our various ways, and we have a running joke that if you stay here long enough, they will give you a job.
You stay long enough, exactly. So beautiful. And you mentioned adult education as well. So tell us a little bit about your role there. And I know you said you have a new class or a class coming up in the near future. We'll plug that right away at the beginning today. So
right on. So the class that's coming up, I'll start with that, is Living My Life Purpose, which comes out of the Sacred Days work. You might be familiar with that from Fear to Faith or the Healing Service or the co-creation process. So this is an in-depth 8-week class where people get to dig into their own beliefs and their own circumstances around spiritual principle, and it concludes with the creation of your own sacred covenant for your own life. And it is such impactful work. I live a covenanted life. I have a covenanted marriage. My center is a covenant center. There's something so powerful about claiming in a really tangible way what your intentions are and why, and then checking back in with that over time and time again. It's never about what I think people should be doing or what New Thought says people should be doing. It's always about, to me, helping people sync up with their own values and really walk out who they think they are on the inside and the outside of their life, so that it impacts their relationships, their vocation, their spiritual life. Everything can be really integrated and cohesive when we're super clear with ourselves who we are and what we want to be.
Beautiful. Oh, I love it. Love it. Folks,
so good.
You can learn more about this class and everything that's happening at New Vision over at newvisioncsl.org. That address is running across the bottom of your screen right now. So tell us a little bit more of how you came to New Thought. What was, like, how you said that you and Reverend Jeff and Reverend Susan all kind of stumbled into New Vision at the same time, but what got you stumbling into New Vision at that point in time in your life? What was going on? What was the call for you?
Well, I am the most typical person you can imagine. I stumbled into New Thought mid-divorce, 2 small children, no idea how I was going to make my life work. I had spent the previous 10 years as a pagan priestess with a really lovely circle of practitioners. And that sort of fell apart the way things do in your late 20s, early 30s. People move, friendships break up. It had just sort of dissolved. And that had been a really lovely supportive ground of discovery and inner seeking for me. And I really needed to be somewhere where I was not the leader. I was not the teacher. I needed to strip it back to ground zero and start again. And Science of Mind gave me a place where I could really do that. I sat in the back row and cried for a year and talked to no one. Went full introvert, and eventually a really lovely volunteer with the organization very quietly said, we do see you. When you're ready to talk, we will be here. And eventually I had healed enough through what I was learning and hearing that I was able to start talking. And then it was on. And, I got really lucky. Reverend Dr. Michelle Madrano was the senior minister at New Vision at that time. And the very first talk I ever heard, she talked about Hermetic law and the way Ernest Holmes talked about Hermetic law. Now, Hermetic law is not just the basis of law of attraction. It is, but it's not only that. It's the underpinning of all magical and metaphysical practicing, all of it, from every faith tradition that utilizes that. And so I went immediately from, am I going to fit in here, to, these are my people. They're going to be able to handle the allness of me when I was ready to really engage.
Right on. Yes. I love that phrase, the allness of me, the allness of you. I remember the first time we met was at a graduation and at Seaside, and I was struck by the allness of you. And I remember thinking to myself, this woman's going to make a splash. She's going to make a name for herself in this movement, and it's so fun to see that that's happened. So
that's so kind of you to say. Yeah, the big energy. I get told a lot I have big energy.
Big energy and big hair, and that's okay. They go together.
in this body, they sure do.
Right on. Perfect. And I want to jump into the video real quick, because you recently put out a video, a shorts style video. I don't know if it's the right timeline as far as like how short is, but it really struck me, and I found it on Facebook. So we're going to pull that up, folks, and I want you to not just watch this, but really listen to what Reverend Leslie's saying here, because we're going to discuss that as we come back, once we come back. So I think I've got it queued up perfectly. Let's give it a shot and check this out.
Rev Lezli Goodwin, Associate Minister at New Vision Center for Spiritual Living in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm making this video as a part of Eyes Not Lies, a call for clergy to speak the truth about what they're seeing. I have watched the video of Alex Preddy dozens of times from multiple angles, and this is what I see. I see a woman being pushed. I see another woman being pushed down, and Mr. Preddy going to her aid. I see ICE agents pushing him down as well and spraying some sort of spray at him and the other person on the ground. I see at least 6 ICE agents surrounding and piling on top of Mr. Preddy. I see another ICE agent reaching in and grabbing something off Mr. Preddy's hip, which appears to be a firearm that would have been holstered if it was on his hip. Then I see shots beginning to be fired as he is held down, head on the ground, completely unable to defend himself or cause any harm. Believe your eyes. Believe what you see. What's happening in Minnesota is not right. I'm Rev.
Okay, wow. The composure I see, because I will be honest, I have not had that much composure in trying to describe that incident over the past almost 2 weeks now that I see in you to be able to describe that. I'm not familiar with the Eyes Not Lies moniker, so you're introducing me to that. I imagine you're introducing much of our audience to that today. So tell us a little more, and really, we'll get into how everybody reacted. But I want to know what was that piece in consciousness that said, "This is mine to do, and I have to do this."
Eyes Not Lies is an all clergy initiative that came across my desk because the son-in-law of a leader in my community is a UU minister who stepped forward and made an early Eyes Not Lies video. And the calling is for all clergy to simply tell the truth in the face of what appears to be an administration that was encouraging people to not believe their own eyes, to not believe their own senses. And so when I saw the first video, I knew instantly that it was my calling to make a video like this. Frankly, I expected to see thousands of them. I'm really surprised I have not seen more from the New Thought community. And perhaps they just haven't crossed my particular TikTok FYP. But what I know to the center of my being is that when I was in my ministerial training, Dr. Kathy Hearn told me over and over again that your role as a minister is specifically to be a reliable context for spiritual truth, to be a reliable context for spiritual truth to anyone who comes to you seeking. And it just feels true to me that if I'm going to be a context for capital T truth, I have to speak the truth. I have to believe what I see, say what is so, and not shy away in the face of people who might feel differently or be offended by what I have to say. To me, this is not a political issue. I realize politicians are involved. I realize it has been politicized. But to me, this is a human rights issue. And when I look at our CSL global vision, when I look at what I feel called to do to awaken humanity to its magnificence, to be the allness of life that we are being called to be by the divine, I can't stand in front of people and invite them into their truth without being willing to stand absolutely rock solid in my own. And so that particular day, I think it's funny. The one video that pops off and gets played everywhere is the first time I've straightened my hair in 4 years. But but I sat in meditation. I knew I was going to make the video, so I spent some time in meditation, just getting very, very clear what I wanted to say, and to allow Spirit to speak through me. And I was interested when I made the video. My voice even sounds different.
Yeah.
there's a calm and a serenity to the unarguable truth that it is not acceptable for anyone to shoot an unarmed person who is completely being held down, cannot cause any harm, even if he had been a mass murderer, which we have no evidence that he did anything particularly wrong. I believe in our Constitution. I believe in spiritual truth. And when those two things come together correctly, no one who is being held down rightfully gets harmed.
Right.
And when we're in a situation in the United States right now where that is not a given truth, as it hasn't been in lots of different situations, I can't respect myself as a reliable context for spiritual truth if I do not tell the truth.
Beautiful. Very well said. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I am interested. Was there pushback? Was there pushback from your local community? Was there pushback from any organ? You don't have to name anybody or organizations, but did you receive pushback on releasing this video?
There is always pushback. One of the great things that I learned early on in my ministry, I've been a minister for about 8 years, a practitioner for 13. A thing that I learned early on is no matter what decision you make, about 30% of the people are going to think it's stupid. And that's true from making a video on human rights to what color you paint the bathroom. And so, of course, there was pushback. There was not significant pushback to the extent that my job was in danger. I didn't get called on the carpet by Home Office, by CSL Global, or by my leadership. But of course, in any community, there are going to be some people who see it differently. And big picture, what the common thread is from people who pushed back are from people who say, well, these things happened under other presidents too. And I say, I didn't talk about the president.
Right.
I talked about an untenable situation that we all saw with our own eyes from about 15 different positions. This isn't about who is president or who is the head of NHS or any other position. This is about, are we all agreeing that this was not an acceptable outcome?
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. I noticed that as well. I thought you did an amazing job in that of not politicizing it any further, not drawing conclusions on the politics. And there have been videos and other theories now that have emerged, and more evidence has emerged since the time of the recording of that. But what I really, really love is it felt, and we talked about this again in the pre-show, it felt incredibly authentic for the moment, and you were able to capture that moment in history through, well, your eyes and not what you were being asked to believe.
Yeah, one of the things I've really been focusing on in my own spiritual work in such interesting times when I'm beginning to get a little bit of a twitchy reaction to the phrase breaking news. I think I've had quite enough breaking news. I would like a nice, calm news day, please. But
I like mending news. We want to find some mending news.
Some calming news, some repairing news. I just keep recentering on what is my truth, being guided by that voice within, and to not allow anybody to push me to quiet or to the realm that is not mine. See, I am a deeply political person in my own personal life, but I'm not political in my ministerial life. And sometimes people would say that that's not true because I will speak out on things like this. I've spoken out about gun violence a number of times, about genocide a number of times. But here's the deal. Anything can be politicized by anybody who chooses to. But human rights are not inherently political, and they shouldn't be. We should all be agreeing on human rights, no matter who you vote for, no matter what your beliefs are, your faith tradition. human rights are the bare minimum. The bar is on the floor. It is so low. And so I just keep bringing myself back to speaking authentically from the truth as I see it and as I receive it from indwelling spirit. And yes, people are going to push back because it's going to trigger them. They're going to have their story that they have about why I said what I said. I speak the truth as I know it. And if I ever feel like I am in the place when I cannot, I am so far off my own center. I need to go back to my prayer chair and figure it out.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Folks, those that watch this program, you all know we don't shy away from many of these topics. And I personally don't believe in the proliferation of guns and personal ownership of guns and the way they're portrayed and the way they're romanticized in this country. And the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing got pulled into this because politicians started saying you shouldn't take a gun to a protest and you should have known better. And we started to really victimize Alex and making it all his fault and gaslighting that he shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have had a weapon and all that. And I want to go beyond also with you in this. I want to go beyond my personal beliefs because according to our country and our country's constitution, he did have a right to have that weapon with him. And we never did see him. I have yet to ever see a video of him brandishing that weapon. I have never seen a video of him acting. There's this video that has some dubious nature of him and a few days earlier. But in that instance, in those moments, I think you did a really great job of saying, this is what I saw. And we saw a man on the ground that I've been using the word was executed.
Yeah. And I think that's a reasonable word for it. And, God forbid they ever dig that far into my life to find videos of me. I feel so grateful to be of the age that social media did not exist in my teens and 20s.
Oh, yes.
May we all be so blessed.
Yes.
But whatever is found about him or Renee Good or Keith Porter or anybody else that's gotten caught up in this latest round of madness, summary execution is not legal in the United States for anybody, no matter what they have done. Execution without due process is not a thing in the United States. It should not be a thing. And I can hear the crowd right now saying, but what about? And yes, I'm not trying to pretend like it hasn't happened. I'm saying it's against our Constitution. And as people of the book, if you will, as people of principle, the Constitution is a very clear written piece of national principle.
Yeah.
It's important to me that we continue to go back to principle as a people, and that Constitution has not been changed. That Second Amendment stands, as does the First.
Yep. Yes. And the Fourth. And that's something that I've seen, that we're going to have an interesting experience if our Fourth Amendment right runs straight in headlong into our Second Amendment right in Minneapolis or in this country or anywhere. And I saw a piece recently, and I haven't done enough research to trace it all back, but the basic premise is that if ICE agents were required to remove the masks, the vast majority of them would leave the job.
I saw a similar poll. Yeah.
And, that really says deep down, these people, and somebody else said, I haven't seen any female ICE agents. Deep down, these men, and predominantly white men, know that they're doing harm and know that they're doing wrong and are going to hide what they're doing. And from my perspective, I see a lot of the use of the word Nazis and Gestapo and all this stuff. And I keep reminding people, the Nazis got their playbook from us.
Yes, absolutely they did.
This
Yeah,
whole
they looked at how we treated our black and brown citizens. And yeah, they learned a lot from us. The eugenics movement, which is usually what I'm on podcast talking about, is the way in which New Thought really needs a new playbook on how to deal with people with chronic illness, neurodiversity, mental illness, and the like. That eugenics movement started here in the United States.
yeah. Well, folks, we need to take a break. So let's come back after the break and continue that conversation, because I do know that you've done an awful lot more work on that and how to share that, and looking at how New Thought is I don't want to say complicit, but has an opportunity to help heal that as well. So we're going to take a couple minutes, folks. Let Reverend Lezli have a sip of water and maybe a stretch, but we're going to come back with more of New Thought today in just a moment or two. So please don't go away. Don't go far. We'll be right back.
Are you passionate about media, storytelling, and making a difference? Welcome to New Thought Media Network, where your voice matters. We amplify diverse voices and share impactful stories. Join us in our mission. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to creativity and community, looking for enthusiastic volunteers who want to be part of something bigger. Learn, grow, and collaborate in various aspects of media production. Incredible support and camaraderie await you here. Your contributions will help us create powerful content that resonates with audiences and drives social change.
Ready to make a difference? Visit our website www.ntmedia.org to learn more about volunteer opportunities and how you can get involved.
Find our volunteer inquiry under the Engage tab on our website, or visit www.ntmedia.org/volunteer. We look forward to connecting with you soon.
And we're back with more of New Thought today here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm Dr. Robert, your host. My co-host, Reverend Lezli, is off in the world doing good work. And our special guest today, Reverend Lezli Goodwin from Phoenix, Arizona, and the New Vision Center for Spiritual Living, where she is an associate minister there. And we've been having a great conversation, I feel, and it's led us to perhaps I'm going to call it a blind spot in the New Thought movement, because it is something we see, but it is something that we don't talk about much. And I don't see very much in the way of classes or programming or workshops that help us really look at more of that mental health side of everything. So you were just getting into it when we went on the break, Rev. Why don't you keep going for us?
Absolutely. So as somebody who has significant autoimmune disease, I consider myself disabled. And for anybody who doesn't know, if you feel that urge welling up on the inside of you to say, no, you're not disabled, you're differently abled, I'm going to invite you to just close your mouth and open your heart just a little bit and hear that that is not the languaging that by and large the disabled community is choosing. Disabled is not a dirty word. It's just information. It's just a descriptor that allows people who are experiencing a disability the opportunity to look within and figure out what accommodations they need. So there's two models of disability, right? There is the medical model of disability that tells us that you have symptom X, therefore you are unable to do Y or need significant help doing Y. you're disabled. And then there's the social model of disability. And that says that you're only disabled, unable, or challenged in doing a thing because society has not given you the accommodations that make that possible. So I am one of those disabled people who has a job at a spiritual center that is willing to be accommodating to my needs enough that I can continue to work and be very productive as a minister in this field. If I were at a different job, I might not be able to because I work shortened hours. I work more days a week, shortened hours. I work 30 hours instead of 40 or the 60 that sometimes ministers work. And I have the flexibility of my schedule to allow that to be possible. Now, this was an interesting series of conversations when I went out of remission and got very sick as a minister, because in Science of Mind, where is your consciousness? If you have not healed yourself, right? And so it opened up this opportunity to talk about how excellent Science of Mind and other new thought branches are at dealing with short-term, quick challenges. And like my favorite one is to talk about cancer. Usually cancer is a 1 to 2 year journey. It's intense, it's challenging, it strips us down to our very bones and causes us to have to rebuild our faith in the most gorgeous, intense way. And it has an end date. And you can win.
Right.
I beat cancer. I fought cancer and I beat it. But there are an awful lot of illnesses, disabilities, challenges that do not have an end date. I have never seen someone pray and connect with the one so hard they grew back an amputated limb. That is not a thing that happens.
Right.
And so here's what I see. Here's what I see over and over again in our field. I see people realize that whatever they have is chronic, a mental illness, a physical illness, a neurodivergence. It's something that is inherent to who they are. It is not going anywhere. And they realize that it doesn't mesh with the way Science of Mind handles illness. And they go away because they feel like they aren't a good enough religious scientist or spiritual person because they can't cure their illness, their injury. And I'm just saying to anyone who will hear me, we have got to find a better way to support people with chronic or ongoing challenges, or we're not doing our job. We can't take it's a full 1/3 of the North American population has a disability of some kind. And many of them we've completely normalized. If glasses can get you to a functional level of vision, we don't consider that a disability anymore. But you take those glasses away and someone is really struggling. And then there are these other challenges that are maybe a little bit less understood and hard to relate to if you haven't personally experienced them, that are the energy limiting diseases or the perception shifting challenges. And we just kind of look away like they're not there because they don't fit our paradigm. And the truth is, Ernest Holmes didn't write about this. The Fillmores did not write about this. We don't have text to go back to, but we are also part of a movement who has chosen to be open at the top. And we simply must shift the way we deal with a full 1/3 of our congregation.
Yeah. I have to believe, as you're sharing, and thank you, because I trust we're going to open some eyes here today. It feels to me like you mentioned Ernest and the Fillmores didn't speak of these things. And my mind wonders, is that just because people didn't know what they were experiencing, so they didn't know how to describe it, so it never came up? Or if it just drove people away to the point where 1/3 of the people coming in the door don't stick around long enough because they can't see themselves, right? They can't say, wow, I see myself in leadership or in this way, or so I really kind of am tending towards the fact that we've probably driven a lot of people away, not knowing, but we've driven a lot of people away because we haven't had a way to speak about this. We haven't had education in how to speak about this. This it definitely isn't something we teach practitioners and ministers how to deal with.
Right. It's getting a little bit better. The brand new practitioner training book talks more clearly than I've ever seen about the difference between healing and a cure. So spiritual living, whatever your particular faith tradition is, spiritual healing or spiritual living always offers healing. It always offers healing. But healing is not necessarily a cure. A cure is a cessation of symptoms. Healing happens at the causal level, and it is a healing of the heart and the mind of woundedness. So I would say I have been healed dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands of times. I have been healed from thinking of my body as wrong. I have been healed from anger at God that I have these diseases and have to manage them. I have healed, I can't even, it would be a really long podcast if I told you all. I've healed from the belief that these things can get in the way, get between me and my full expression. Mm-hmm. What I have not gotten is a cure yet. And so I keep that door open for the possibility because, of course, in God, all things are possible. But what if that is the least interesting healing I could have? If I had been immediately cured, would I have had the space and the quietude to go within as deeply as I have over these last 18 years, to become a minister, to become interested in these things, to teach and lead others in their own spiritual awakening? I don't know. I'm a pretty fast-paced person. I might not have. And that is going to be true for everybody in their own experience, in their own way, that yes, absolutely, healings are available. And sometimes it's a cure and sometimes it's not. Because what if there's nothing wrong with a body that operates differently? What if there's nothing wrong with a mind that operates differently? And rather than, because we have these symptoms, something is wrong, society, our own little corner of society in New Thought, can shift the way we perceive and operate so that everyone can be showing up in their fullness, independent of this information about ourselves that really is just a detail in the big picture of who we are.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And I'm struck that, if you had come in and had that instantaneous cure and snap done, you might be somewhere else. And how many other people would not have been inspired? How many other people would not have been able to say, I can see myself in her. Yeah. And I can see how this philosophy, how these teachings are supporting her through her trials and journey, that my trial and my journey may not seem so bad, or it may seem manageable, or it may seem something that I can also experience a healing around, rather than just the miraculous cure. Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
It offers us this really beautiful opening up to the working of spirit in our lives. And in community, it offers us yet another layer of diversity, inclusion to open up to.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. Well, hey, we probably could go on this one all day too, but we have a fairly standard question. All of our guests on this program, we love to dive in a little bit and kind of get your idea of the vision of the future. Where is New Thought headed? What is the movement as a whole being called to step up and step into? Where do we best serve? I like to use the term the evolution of humanity and the evolution of consciousness. Share with us a little bit. You're a minister. I know you've done these types of ruminations and reflections. Where's New Thought headed?
For me, I think that New Thought is headed out of our doorways. Programs like this are a great place to start. We have in our community, a medium-sized New Thought community, we have about 100 to 150 people on a given Sunday celebrating together, and that is wonderful. We have as many or more online in any given week. And those folks are from all over the world, many of them from places where there is not a New Thought Center, or there isn't any other way they could have been interacting with spiritual truth. If we want to be purveyors of truth, and I think that at our heart, that's what we seek to be, is purveyors of spiritual truth, then we have to make space for as many different kinds of people to speak their truth, not our truth, their truth, how it comes through them, through their perspective, through their experience, and to be open to broadening what being New Thought means, what being a New Thought community means, expanding so that there is space for every perspective, every opinion, every experience. And I see that as walking out. Yeah, I love our communities. I think that they're wonderful. But if what we do is go to Sunday and get uplifted by a beautiful word from a wonderful minister, and then we go home and maybe do our spiritual practice or maybe not, and then that's about it until we see each other the next Sunday, we have missed the boat. And so I see New Thought as a beautiful invitation to, as we like to say in Science of Mind, treat and move our feet, to pray, to take in that inspiration, to feel where it wells up in the physical world for us, what we're called to do and be in the world, and then to take action, to pray up and step up, whether that shows up as writing and speaking and sharing these truths with more people, whether it shows up as being active in social justice or in service in the world or any other place, to follow that divine impetus that we're familiar with. I mean, when we're in that peripheral place and somebody should floats up, that somebody is the person who's hearing it in their own heart. And to walk that out, that to me is the entire purpose of these teachings. If we just use them to feel good, we might as well be watching Bridgerton, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good Bridgerton season. I've already watched the first half of season 4. But I'm not believing that that is the purpose of my soul. The purpose of my soul is to open up and be the hands and feet of the divine in whatever I'm called to. Yeah. And that's not a minister thing. That's not a practitioner thing. That's an everybody thing.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. I'm reminded what I hear you saying sounds to me like an awful lot like intra-spirituality.
Yes.
And that's different than interfaith. Mm-hmm. It's that intra-spirituality, the shared experience across traditions, so that we can find our commonalities rather than just shout at our differences. And I've been lamenting a lot lately. It feels like social media and many social platforms have fallen into that. We're just shouting at each other's differences. We're just shouting that you're wrong because you're not saying it the way I say it, or you're wrong because you're not seeing it the way I see it. And if we can be those containers, those communities that allow for really, truly authentic expression of where our commonalities are, I think we've got an awful lot more that can be done.
We're so much more alike than we are different. And when we can remember that and focus in on what is important, then we can take action on those truths. Part of the reason I wanted to do Eyes Not Lies is that I don't know a single soul who, divorced from the politicization of that circumstance, would say shooting a man who's being held down and has been unarmed multiple times is acceptable. I don't know anyone. That's right. Against everyone I know's morals, against everyone I know's spiritual principles. And we need to get back to that place where we recognize that people of faith are more alike than they are different.
Yes. Amen. 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 Rev Z and I have been working on a small book, but a book for a while now. And it's something that's floated in the back of my head for an awful long time now, is taking spiritual mind treatment and overlaying that, marrying that, if you will, with the Muslim 5 prayers practice.
Gorgeous.
And using our first prayer of the morning as a prayer of recognition, and our midday prayer as a prayer of unification, and our evening prayer as that prayer of release, and doing that 5 prayers a day. And he and I have been working on looking at how they really are. It's very easy, and not to appropriate that culture or not to try to replicate that tradition, but to see the similarities so we can say, wow, these, and in many ways, I would imagine you probably are familiar with Valerie Kaur's message and her work, and what she's been doing in the world, because it seems like we're on a cycle where we're back at that place of vilifying anyone that isn't a white Christian, of vilifying anyone that isn't in a heterosexual relationship, of vilifying anyone that wants to talk about the things of the world in a slightly different perspective than my way or the highway. So it's always refreshing when our guests have that same and you've got your way of coming at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same as everybody else's, and who you are is really unique to bringing this message forward.
Oh, thank you. I think it's important that we all remember nobody's heart has ever been changed by being made wrong. Mm-hmm. And when we come at it from that perspective, we're guaranteeing failure.
Yeah. I might want you to say that one a little louder for the people in the back.
Nobody's heart has ever been changed by making them wrong. It just is not a helpful approach. But if we can let people know that they are loved and they are safe with us, that's the place where hearts can begin to open.
Beautiful, beautiful. Folks, we're going to take another real quick break, say thank you to some of our organizational sponsors and individual donors. Again, let Reverend Lezli have a quick stretch and a quick sip of water, but we're not done yet. We've got more coming, and we want you to be a part of it. So stay tuned, stay with us. We'll be right back after this message.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you. And please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network. Come be you.
And we're back with more of New Thought today here on the New Thought Media Network. If you wonder what you've stumbled into here, folks, today, I'm Rev Dr Robert Brzezinski, my special guest, Reverend Lezli Goodwin from the New Vision Center for Spiritual Living in Phoenix, Arizona. She's an associate minister there, and we've been having a great conversation, quite wide-ranging, from eyes not lies to autoimmune disease, and how a new thought can, and how science of mind and new thought can better support the people in our lives that have chronic illnesses and pain, all the way towards a newer vision for what we're becoming in the world. So if you're just tuning in and you missed all of that, well, it'll be available in our archives immediately following this program. And remember, all of our shows are archived on various playlists across our YouTube channel. Please check out our YouTube channel and some of the other programming that we have there. And I have to do a quick shout out, because last night we just crossed over for the first time. Our subscriber number goes up and down a little bit. We gain a couple and lose one, and gain a couple and lose one. But last night we just crossed the 3,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. And for a channel that talks about something that very few people in the world seem to know about, I feel like that's a pretty good win. So we're celebrating that today. And we want to thank you for being a part of this and for a part of what we're doing as a channel, as a ministry. So Reverend Lezli, before we fully run out of time, what are we forgetting? What haven't we talked about that maybe you wanted to bring into the conversation, or other classes or other things that we want to make sure we touch on before we really wrap this up today?
Well, if somebody heard me talking for a whole hour and didn't hear me talk about working one-on-one with a spiritual guidance person of some kind, a minister, a practitioner, a spiritual coach, they would wonder who the heck I was, and who they would think I was a pod person, because I am so absolutely devoted to the idea of people choosing to work one-on-one with someone who is guiding them in the development of their spiritual life. So this is a little bit different than what I would call spiritual triage, when you go see a minister or a practitioner because something has blown up, a relationship has fallen apart, or someone has passed and you're in grieving. This is a relationship that I like to joke, you go see a practitioner whether you need to or not, where you work with them maybe once a month, and maybe once every 2 weeks, over a period of time, as you continue to deepen and develop your own spiritual leadership. It is so impactful. It absolutely changed my life. It's changed the life of the people I work with. And this isn't just a me thing. I am available to work with clients, but of course, our movement has thousands and thousands of ministers and practitioners and coaches who are available to work with you on spiritual principle. It's the best gift you could ever give yourself. So I really encourage you to take it into prayer, to get into your meditations, and see if you feel called to get some support in your deepening.
Beautiful. Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. I rotate through a various number of people, and some people might call them mentors or spiritual directors. And around here, we really rest on, I believe we stand on the shoulders of our professional practitioners and the work they're able to do. So if you're not a part of a regular community, or you're not a part of a community, by all means, head over to New Vision CSL. I was on that website earlier today, and your practitioners and ministers are all listed there with ways to get in touch. Here at the New Thought Media Network, our prayer practitioners are available for those types of connections as well, or find a great minister in this movement, because I know almost all the ministers are still doing that type of work as well. So really important on so many levels.
It's foundational. It's so important.
Yeah. And we do want you to head over to Leslie's website. That's LezliGoodwin.com. Check out all the good, fun stuff she's got going on over there. And again, in case people are tuning in late, you've got a new class starting. Give us a little more of the details on the whens, the whys, and I think we sign up for that over on the New Vision site. So.
That's exactly right. It's called Living My Life Purpose. You can sign up for it at newvisioncsl.org. It's a class that starts Tuesday, March 8th. It's an 8-week class. It's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. Arizona time. So you're going to want to check that, because Arizona is one of those crazy states that doesn't change time zones. I believe that we're going to be...
I think March is after the time zones.
Yeah, I think we're going to be aligned with Pacific for that. And it is just a great opportunity to examine your beliefs all the way through all the spiritual principles and set yourself up with some practices that can shift your life and create a covenant, a sacred covenant for your own life that outlines your intentions and what you personally value. Because that's what makes Science of Mind and New Thought so amazing, right? Is that we're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to help you learn how to think and create from your perspective. I'm not going to tell you what success looks like. I want you to tell me what success looks like for you. And then I am all about helping you get there.
Beautiful. Yes. All right. And folks, I do want to remind you, the New Thought Media Network Substack channel, we have just done kind of a redesign. All of last year, I was sharing my personal essays and writings on that channel, and Spirit put it in my head somewhere in January that that needed to shift. So the New Thought Media Network Substack channel is now focused and featuring people from around the movement. And with your permission, Reverend Lezli, I'd love to take your Eyes Not Lies and put that in our media drop category.
Absolutely.
And give it another go around for people to catch it and take a look and be able to comment. So check out the Substack channel. It's been redesigned, and we've got a number of different categories, special guest essays by various ministers and other leaders throughout the New Thought movement. I think you're really going to enjoy what we're creating over there. So please check that out. All right, we are at that point of final thoughts, and we look at this. We've pretty much filled the hour, so and I'd love to give you the opportunity to kick us off with that, if you would, Reverend Lezli. Final thoughts for today.
Absolutely. Trust yourself. Trust the voice of the divine within you, and take that into action, whatever that means for you. Do not rest only on your prayer cushion. Get out there and make a difference.
Beautiful. Thank you. One of the themes I heard today, and we've talked about it a lot, and you're touching on it there, is be authentic. Be the real you. Be the you that you came here to be. Don't try to be the you that somebody told you should be, or you think is going to be the path towards enlightenment or a great relationship or a big health, or a big huge bank account. We've got to bring who we are to this thing called life, because that's what's going to change the world. Folks, I want to thank you for being with us today on the New Thought Media Network. We'll be back again next week. And of course, I totally forgot to look at who my guest is next week. So you'll figure that out. I'll figure that out, and we'll figure it out together. But join us again next Tuesday, 2:00 Mountain Time, and every week here on the New Thought Media Network. Until next time, we wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.